attack you on that. No, I'm not going to attack you on. I'm not going to tell. That's the thing. I'm
I love
open.
Rand too, but
I'm open. I'm open. I'm not here to attack anybody. Wherever your beliefs are, whatever person that you like. I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter here. We don't pick on people for saying, oh, like Rand Paul, or do you like Paul Ryan, or using Al Sharpton. I mean, there's some things I agree on Al Sharpton on. There's some things I agree on Will Williams on. But but do I totally agree with him all the time? No, but Paul Ryan and Rand Paul and Ron Paul have all made some great statements that I agree with, some great points, but I don't agree with all of it. But go ahead.
okay. Well, here's a little bit of what Ron Paul said about it. He goes, he's talking about, if you look at the history, you'll find that Hamas was encouraged and actually started by Israel because they wanted Hamas to counteract Yasser Arafat. You say, well, yeah, it was better then and served its purpose, but we didn't want Hamas to do this. So then we as Americans say, well, we have such a good system. We're going to impose this on the world. We're going to invade Iraq, teach people how to be Democrats. We want free elections. So we encourage the Palestinians to have a free election. They do, and they elect Hamas. So we first, indirectly and directly, through Israel, helped establish Hamas. Then we have an election where Hamas becomes dominant. Then we have to kill them. It just doesn't make sense. During the 1980s, we were allied with Osama bin Laden, and we were contending with the Soviets. It was all good at that time. Our CIA thought it was good if we radicalized the Muslim world. So we financed the madrasa school to radicalize the Muslims in order to compete with the Soviets. There's too much blowback. There are a lot of reasons why we should oppose this resolution. It's not in the interest of the United States, and then he continues to go on from there.
Right. You make some great points because the Soviet Union. What did World War II during World War II? What did Patton say? We need to go to Russia. We gotta get rid of these people. They're going to make a Russian society towards evilness, just like Hitler did, and that's what we're seeing right now. I talked to a World War II veteran this week. Last week, I should say, when we had a vintage air show come into town, a vintage World War II air show. I talked with 4 different veterans that day. And you can find my interviews on YouTube as well with the veterans. And this is very rare to see 92, 95-year-old veterans still able to talk. And these guys haven't talked about their stories in over 72 years. First time for us to have their story be heard on the air. And we did live on location. And we also put the pictures with the people who flew the aircraft too as well. You see, we give you a full book here. We don't just give you a front cover. We give you the whole entire story. That way you can see it, you can acknowledge it, and you can see history come alive here. And that's what we do. Going back to the World War II veterans, what we have now, what we fought against World War II was the Nazi Gestapo Party. Well, the Nazi Gestapo Party is ISIS now. It's a Muslim Islamic terrorist. And you can thank Russia for this problem because they're the ones that actually beset Pakistan's and the Palestinians, betting with Russia, hiding behind up in Afghanistan, and you have Russia giving arms to the Palestinian people, where it gave them ISIS. And when we left Iraq, when we pulled out of Iraq, guess what? Our armorer, our Hummers, our tanks, our weapons were left behind. So ISIS took them. So they're using our vehicles to make war and rage against us, and also going after our friends, the Israelis, Israel right now, and that's what we're facing right now. So I don't agree with what, but exactly all the stuff that Rand Paul Ron Paul said. But however, he's got a great point because he actually said, Palestinians and Russia. Well, that's correct. In that respect, that's correct. Israel did not fund ISIS, though. Either or giving weapons of mass destruction to a mosque. He did not do that. Israel did not do that. So he's kind of wrong there. But everything else he's correct about. You see, this is what we do here on this network. We analyze. We don't make our own analysis. What we do is see what history is and give you the facts the best way we can without attacking you, without attacking the guests, without us ranting and raving. We do sometimes when we get ticked off, especially at Congress or Harry Diary right now. I mean, this is ridiculous what's happening in the United States Senate and in the Congress right now. It's a disaster. This is why Parliament did what they did, and they brought order back to the back to the British people, the Britain people. They brought order back to them. They gave them back power back to the people in Great Britain. That's what happened. First time in 200 years, they did that, and we did it. We can do it here again, and this is why we have a revolution coming up, especially when it comes to the Democrats and the Senate right now. This is what's happening, and this is why people are so ticked off of what this country, because it's now Big Brother me. You can't even have a Keystone Pipeline. They vetoed that. They vetoed anything that say like another cell phone company. They cannot have another mom and pop cell phone company. Even when we have the technology to do so, they're stopping us. They're stopping us from having Tesla. They're stopping us from making great inventions that would help better ourselves. Number one, be more competitive to the car manufacturers, and we can't even do that now. This is ridiculous. You see, the government is being too much intrusive, and we cannot have freedom anymore in America unless we get somebody like you talk about Gary Johnson. My thing is Ted Cruz, but Gary Johnson's fine. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We want somebody who cares about this country. You don't need a puppet. We got two puppets right now. We got Hillary Clinton, and you got Trumpy right now. Two puppets. And it's just outrageous what we're seeing right now. And my question for you, Michelle, how much money is the national TV networks getting off of Trumpy and Hillary Clinton for the Clinton Foundation and Trumpy's casinos or his resorts right now? Great question. I'd like to know that question. Go ahead, Michelle.
Well, I mean, if you look at the fact that just about every major news outlet throughout the entire world are owned by the same 4 or 5 companies, it kind of just tells you right there. Of course, everything is about money, whether it's government, whether it's politics, whether it's war, whether it's media, everything is about money. And the government's job is to make you dependent on it so it can continue to grow and control you.
That's
right. Government is about control. That's the only thing that it's about. That's why our founders tried to keep government tightly reined with the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, because they knew how easily, people would start to pervert those documents in the quest for their own power and their own money. And that's exactly what's going on, and we're so far past. I mean, I think it was Thomas Jefferson that said, like every 90 years there needs to be another revolution just to keep things, straight. But what's happened is generation after generation has got more and more comfortable, and we've been like a frog boiling in a pot. Now it's been so long that most people, you can tell them these things and they can recognize it and say, yeah, it's true, but they're still not willing to do anything about it. They're just going to turn around and go back to the TV and put something on so they can forget about that unpleasant thing that the real world is right now. You know what I mean? So I don't think we're going to see a revolution. If we we were going to see a revolution, we would have seen it 100 times by now, and we haven't. So the only way I see a revolution happening is when the dollar crashes, because people are going to be, going crazy.
The stock market's crashing right now.
It's not even a revolution; it's going to be riots.
Well, guess what? The stock market crashed, and then we just had riots yesterday in Sacramento, as you know, with the Nazis. They actually went down to the Capitol building, and 2 people got killed.
Yeah, I read about that. There was a stabbing at a demonstration. Isn't that right?
Yeah, in Sacramento, California. Yeah, the Capitol building. Yes, and they had two severe injuries, and their lives were taken away.
Right.
So.
Well, the other thing that I found that was very interesting about the Sacramento attack, and the reason why we're also not seeing a whole lot of it on air, is because it was a knife attack. It wasn't a gun attack, so they cannot, push that gun control narrative on us.
Interesting.